Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Deisty and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
Well,
do you remember the last time I remembered how to actually use any of this stuff correctly?
welcome back to the First Dibs
podcast. I swear we just need a producer because I can't push the buttons anymore.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're old. Right?
Yeah, you just had a birthday.
Well, that's true.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
John.
I did have a birthday.
Because your birthday was the day after our last podcast.
Yes. 2 days after.
2 days. 2 days after.
I think so.
It was on Sunday?
It was on the 25th.
Oh, that's right.
It's always the 25th for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's always the 25th.
I don't really know why. But
Yep.
yeah, no, it was my birthday. Right? Do you ever feel like that when you're trying to work technology and it just doesn't do anything?
Are we on air?
I hope so. I see us somewhere. Somebody's watching with us, so that's cool.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Pikes Peak Hill Climb season has started.
We talked about it last week. Spring buying season is here.
Very much so.
It was slightly delayed, but the activity has come. Spring has not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe spring did.
Yeah.
But it's just been wet.
It's
It's
very
been
wet.
very wet. And I had
cold.
Yeah. I had to throw away a pair of shoes. I always have to throw away a pair of shoes, but this is the most recent one. They get waterlogged. You know, you're in the wash bay so much and they pick up a little bit and then the sole starts to split and then they sop up, you know, some soap suds and then you just can't get the funk out.
Yeah.
And so.
You know, it's funny. I don't know why that just pushed into my brain, but I'm so sorry that I can't remember who this was, but someone stopped by saying, now that I know how your schedule works, I figured I'd wait till now to come in. Because apparently on the show, I was talking about what the average day looks like getting started.
Oh.
And maybe it was Fridays we were talking about.
Yeah, last Friday you were busy.
How it was kind of crazy. So anyway, you know, kudos. Thanks for listening. Oh, it was Dawn. It was came down from Boulder. He's been listening.
That's great. Thanks for that. Now you're listening to me adjust my microphone
totally,
stand.
yeah. But yeah, no, he's been listening to First Dibs podcast. So thank you, Dawn. Yeah, for chiming in.
It's always nice to have a plus one.
Right.
Seriously. I'm like subscriber counts, listeners, we notice those things.
Absolutely.
And you always wonder who is it?
Right.
Because the YouTube stuff is awesome because now we get to interact with people. But even on the listening front, it's cool to see those numbers kind of continue to flounder. No, honestly though, I think a lot of people have shifted over to YouTube, but the podcast has still been growing, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing if we put in effort on the marketing side of the podcast, and made those cool clips.
Yeah.
Because we're very clippable.
Let's get our race car driver this year to help out with that.
I don't think we can afford her.
Well, no, we can't, but maybe we can.
Maybe she can just bump our numbers?
Yeah, maybe she could.
That could be.
Just make an appearance.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
My daughter swears that everybody goes viral at least once.
I got ways we can do it. I'm just not. Right. I just need to retain my employment unless we go really hard viral. So that's probably not going to happen.
Do we have anything in the way of business to get out of the way?
I don't really know. Excuse me.
Do you want to push the Dakar?
That's a great car. A white 2024
with the rally
white
package.
with white wheels with the I think it's the 74 rally pack. So it's got the camel on the hood and the black hood and the Shell sticker over the gas cap and Bilstein shocks on the rear. Very, very cool.
Yeah. And then it's got the rack on top. It's got the roof rack. But then the previous owner did an extra step with the roof rack.
Yep.
Put an actual
Put a spare
up there.
which is cool because it's a red spare tire with a tire on it that I would assume matches the correct diameter because the guy's a race car driver.
And I noticed the straps, the holding straps are Porsche labeled.
Porsche labeled ratchet straps.
Yeah. How do I get those?
Yeah. Take them off the car and delete the whole part about it having a spare.
So when you come in and it has some Harbor Freight straps on there.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. I mean, that car just showed up today, so that's pretty fun. I was trying to think about, I mean, it's been a kind of a hectic week. So, what else has shown up this week? I'm not too sure. I know stuff has. Yeah. Pretty wild. And we walked around it last week, or you did, but the bus, sitting right behind you.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
That's really cool. I like that a lot.
That's captured a ton of attention. It's not
Stephen
even
H. has a question about our Carmen Ghia. So we'll try to answer that, even though I haven't driven it. Mm-hmm. But I drove another one, and I think I can give you some ideas.
Okay.
Other things that showed up. I think the Dakar is really cool. It also has the cage in it. Mm-hmm. It's white with white wheels.
That's cool.
Which is like my favorite thing. I love when it's like it's wearing sneakers.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Full leather dash.
Yep. And then all the stuff. Burmester.
Is that Burmester?
I think it's a Burmester car.
That's cool.
We should probably have checked that.
Right.
Whatever. I'll swap the plates for you. You won't be able to know.
Right.
Other stuff.
It's just been busy.
Yeah.
I've been racking my brain trying to get some cars listed
When did
online.
the GTS show up? Was that on Friday?
Which one?
The 25 hybrid.
Oh, did we talk about that car?
I don't know.
We're not allowed to advertise it, but we could talk about it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chalk 2025 Carrera 4 GTS.
I got to drive it to a client's house to show him. He's thinking about ordering one. He's been in line for a while. So we drove it around a little bit. It still had 78 miles on it when we drove it, so didn't really get on the gas. But even just light throttle, you could tell it feels like a big block. Like the motor is just so overpowered and over torqued for the chassis. It doesn't care that it's moving something around. I think it's a 59 horsepower electric motor sandwiched between the engine and the transmission. So when you give it some gas, the electric spins it, but it just makes the engine feel like it just has nothing to move. Like the revs come up. It's not like an electric car where you put the gas in and you accelerate and you don't really hear or feel or see any change. The revs come up. You feel the engine kind of coming up on speed. You hear the electric turbocharger. So it's the turbo is driven by exhaust gases, but then has I don't know why I'm so congested. Sorry, I sound weird. But it has an electric motor between the hot side and the cold side. So as the exhaust gases are spinning things up, the electric motor can also help that. And you hear like a little bit of almost an RC car zing where the electric motor is coming up to speed and basically over boosting compared to what the exhaust gases were. Then at some point the exhaust gases catch up and then take over, and then that electric motor starts recharging the battery. So it's a really cool system, but you can hear it. And I don't think we crested 5,000 RPM I've gone on 2 drives in it. And either time I don't think we got past 5. And you could hear the throttle position and pedal position that the driver was making based on the spool up sound of the turbo behind your head.
Nice.
And it was just so interesting and so cool. And being a 3.6 rather than the 3 liter of the current turbo cars, it's got a much deeper tone. It's not full GT2 RS 4 liter deep rumbly rumble.
Right.
But it's, 0.6 of the way there.
Wow. Wow.
And really, really enjoyed that car and excited for it. Way too fast. I stand by the only thing I need is a Carrera T.
Right.
That's, anywhere from the 370 initial to the 388 current horsepower. way plenty for anything I would ever want to do. I couldn't have more fun with more power. But
Nice.
for those of you that are better drivers than me, GTS,
Right.
wicked. Oh my God, that's going to be great.
All the way.
Yeah, really good. Did you drive it?
No, I rode in it
You should.
with a gentleman that once won.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's coming in, and he just wanted to experience it, before it gets here, and drove it very easy because I noticed that there's not many miles on it at all. So no, we went for a quick little round the block kind of drive, and it was enough to tell that this is different. This is very
wicked quick.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked.
I've heard others talk about it when they came back.
And what I said when they went from the naturally aspirated engines in the 991s to the turbocharged engines in the 991.2s, it's the 12 through 16 cars are the .1s, and then 17 through 19 are the .2s. That .2 motor has continued kind of through 992 production, which started in 2020, and then into 992.2, which is the 25 and 26 cars in the Carrera and Carrera S. But the difference is you can drive them lazy and fast.
Yeah.
In a naturally aspirated car, to make the power, you need revs. At least that's what we have decided on, right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4,000 RPM, it's not making all that much torque. It's not really going that fast. But then by 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to almost 8 on those cars, it just zings. And the higher up you go, the harder it's pulling, the more torque it's making, the more it feels like it's doing something. But you really got to get it up to 4 or 5 before it feels like a fast car.
Yeah.
The turbocharged cars, they bring the torque curve way down. So they're probably making full torque by 22 or 2,500 RPM. And then they pull hard all the way up to about 7. And then the last 500 RPM, maybe there's just a little, just barely, it doesn't detract. You still want to rev it up there, but it doesn't have that naturally aspirated, like kind of final lift. I felt like naturally aspirated cars kind of lifted to red line a little bit. The new GTS is that beyond, where you can drive it so lazy and short shifted. You can shift at 3, and the car is just pushing so hard that you don't need to rev it.
Right.
And I'm excited to, find one in a few years that is, has enough miles on it where I can take it to red line and really go with it. But just quite a lot of car.
Yeah.
Auto start technology.
Sure.
Previous cars, sport mode, turned off auto start. The default on the current cars is that it would stay on. But there is kind of and we've eliminated individual mode. So the individual mode, when you had a car, a 991.2, 17 and newer with Sport Chrono, there was a mode you could set up and say, I want normal drive modes, but sport exhaust open with stiff suspension and auto start off, and save that, and you put it in individual, and that's what it would be every time. The new ones, kind of like our electric stuff, sport mode and sport plus mode, you can set up
Oh, sure.
how you want. So by default, sport mode has auto start off, or sorry, on. So it will turn off the car, but you can tell it, no, I want it off, save that. And then next time you put it in there, it'll stick. It's incredibly smooth. Basically, you have a 60 horsepower starter motor now. Excuse me, starter motor now. So the second you lift off, initially when you start the car, you push the button, it thinks for a second, and then it's like, snap, I'm on. There's no crank. There's no crank. It's just on, which is pretty weird. But that carries forward to the auto start system, where, it was always pretty quick, but now it's just instant. You lift off the brake a little bit, the car's back on.
Right.
If there was a way for them to kind of keep it like shimmying a little bit, like just turn off the gas,
Right.
turn off don't inject the fuel. Just open up all of the valves so it's sucking and spinning air, but just use the electric motor to keep the engine spinning and keep a little sound coming out the back.
Right.
It would be seamless, but they just stop all of that motion.
Right.
I think they should leave it. That's a top tip.
Yeah,
for the Porsche engineers is auto stop start stops fuel delivery, but it keeps the engine spinning.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because then it's not intrusive. Then it still feels, and you still probably get some sound out the back. You're just not making power. So
interesting.
top tip, find it on the 992.3.
Right.
But even with the system, on say a 2019 Cayenne, as you're coming to a stop, when you're coming down under 5 miles an hour and you're on the brakes, it can shut off the engine.
Yes.
When it does that, the steering feel changes just a little bit, and the AC system changes just a little bit. The pulley stops functioning correctly. Now on the new one, the AC and all of that stuff, it's not belt driven, it's all just electrically driven.
Right.
So you don't feel a difference in the airflow. That has smoothed out a lot. It's funny how a small change like that is very noticeable when you've been in all these cars and you're kind of driving them. And the same thing with the steering weight. Like the car shuts off and you can still steer it. It doesn't feel like it's got manual steering.
Right.
So great job to the Porsche engineers, I think, for developing this new system. Really, I wish that the investment in electrification had gone towards more hybridization first, because I think we'd be further along now than we currently are.
Right.
I think people needed that baby step towards electricity. That's what we took, and I think it felt very natural going from a BMW X3 with a gas engine to a Cayenne hybrid with the hybrid setup, and then another hybrid, that range was increasing. Our need to use the gas motor was decreasing, and now we're in the electric Macan. And I don't know for a daily driver if I would ever go back to gas.
Wow.
For our, around town car, it does everything we need. We can go up to Fort Collins and back. Who cares? It's great. And I don't think we would have had that without the initiation into hybridization.
Sure. Yeah.
And that now is what the new 911 has done, is it's taking kind of all of what we've learned since, what was it, 09? When the first Panamera hybrid in Cayenne, non-S, non-plug-in hybrid came out. I mean, they've been developing this stuff for, over a decade.
Yeah.
And to finally be able to put it in a 911 and have done it so well, good job.
Yeah.
Good job. I like it.
Good.
So you should go drive that before I sell it tomorrow morning.
I'd rather you sell it.
Also, you probably need to tell me how much it is, because we still don't know what it'll be priced at.
All of it. It'll be priced at all of it.
I believe that, and it's worth all of it. Your turn.
So,
Carmen Gia.
I was going to get to the 963 teaser.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Do we have that button?
No, we don't. We got rid of our buttons. But yeah, if anyone out there has seen, an X, or I don't know where else it's been, but the 963 road car.
Yeah. They did a YouTube video. I think it's on Porsche Newsroom. Start of the month, they teased a 917 video that once upon a time, back when men were men, a car was built with a purpose.
Right.
And then we put leather in it and gave it to a guy. And he drove it on the street, and that was awesome.
Right. That was the 917 Strasza version.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
The one.
Yeah, there was one.
The one.
And we didn't lean enough into there was one.
Yeah.
And now I'm just upset.
Yeah.
Because they're making it for Neil Patrick Harris. It's the 963 NPH.
Neil Patrick Harris.
And I love that guy. Like, Doogie, you're my man. I loved like you Doogie. In Hedwig and the Angry Inch. If you've never seen that show,
I liked him in
bend your mind a little bit.
I liked him in the Harold and Kumar movies.
It was great.
He was awesome.
Yeah, what a real person.
Yeah. Unlike his true self.
I don't know. Never met the guy. I bet he'd take that chair and run a board for us.
I bet he would.
I bet he would.
Let's see if he needs the work.
Yeah. I need it more. But yeah, so it's not the Neil Patrick Harris.
Mm-mm.
It's the RSP.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, code for Roger stupid fucking middle name Penske, who probably deserves it more than anybody in the world because of the work that he and his racing team have done.
Absolutely.
Also the money that he has to be able to afford one.
Yeah, sure.
But when it's a one-off special, I just kind of get sad.
Why do you tell the world about it? And
I know.
it's like, cool, just make the car for the guy.
Yeah. Have you seen how big my wang is? Let me make this stream of videos. I'm going to put it up on a poster. Debuting July 13th, 2025. Want to see my pecker? Like, honestly. And the problem isn't that the car's not going to be great, because I'm sure it's going to be astonishing.
Just wicked.
The sound, the ASMR they were doing when they were putting that thing together and like cutting the race text material and bending it over. The craftsmanship is nuts.
Yep.
But I can't have one.
Yeah, it's a one-off.
You're making one
made
for that dude?
specific individual.
Come on.
Yeah. At least the Project Gold was, you could have bought that car.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Anyone, if you were the highest bidder at the auction, you could have bought that one-off car.
Yep.
This one, nah.
Yep.
It is for one individual. But anyway, it's cool, and who knows? Maybe it's just like the first of 700 to be made. You know, like, who knows?
That would be cool. But still.
My initials will not be on it.
I'm not there either.
Me neither.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, so now that we got that car out of the way, because it's big, but it's small news.
It just hurts me a little bit because I was so excited for this to be like the next big thing. McLaren has their, W1, and Ferrari has their F80. Yeah. And we're sitting here like, well, we tried to do an electric car, but nobody really wanted it. So we kind of canceled that program. And now we're making one of these for the guy that runs the race team. But he already owns the other ones, and it's probably just going to go into the Penske Museum.
And he's also got his own car line now. What's the brand?
Really? I didn't know that.
Penske. Yeah. They're like, I mean, it's he didn't create it, right? But he's the distributor.
I don't know.
It's an electric car? Anyway, whatever. I'm over it.
That's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. I like some questions that are coming in.
Carmen Gia to driving a 356. I got to drive another client's Carmen Gia back from their house probably 3 miles away to the dealership, and I've driven, I don't know, a dozen or so, maybe 2 dozen, I don't know, 356s. Everything from our 59 restoration project. Prior to it being restored. So it had kind of rusting out floors and an engine that made unknown power, and then, you know, we had that like sky blue SC that was amazing. And I think, you know, this Carmen Gia is a timepiece, and it's amazing, and the restoration work was incredible. But I think it's still the difference between a Volkswagen today and a Porsche today, where the feel of the steering, the feel of the brakes, the purpose of the car was different.
Oh, sure.
You know, the question was, is the value and overall performance value and overall character, are you getting 90% of the experience for a fraction of the cost? What do you think a 356 Speedster restored to that standard would be? I mean, that's probably $1 million car.
Not $1 million, but
500.
maybe. I'm closer to like 350, 400.
Okay.
And that's got to be, but it would be to that level.
So that, yeah, that's what I mean.
So 400, at that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
And I joke around. I think I said it the last time. The underneath of that car is just as clean as the top side.
It's amazing.
It's unreal.
Not taking anything away from the work that was done
Yeah.
to make that car just immaculate.
Right.
But the starting point of the car is Volkswagen versus Porsche.
Yeah. Now, to Stephen H's point, I don't know that it's quite 90%
Yeah.
of the same, experience, which I think is what you're getting at.
Yeah, exactly. It just it goes back to when I drove that 1970 911S with Joe.
Yes.
I was driving it like it was an antique car. He drove it like it was a sports car.
Yeah.
It's a sports car. So is a 356.
Yeah.
Even if it's only got 50 horsepower or 44 horsepower because it's a Gamund car.
Yeah, right.
Right? They're still sports cars. And the mentality behind that versus the mentality behind the Carmen Gias was just different.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling. I think, like, if you looked on paper, like a Golf R is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. You can get with a manual. It's available with all-wheel drive. And it probably weighs similar to a Cayman. But the driving experience between those two cars is not the same.
Right.
And I love Golf Rs. I would trade my WRX for one if I could find the right one and deal. But it's not a Cayman.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of the same with, a Carmen Ghia and a 356 or a, any 356. So, sorry, this is a Porsche podcast.
Yeah, right.
And we love the Volkswagens. They're kind of Genesis.
It's cool. Yeah, they're super
it's really cool. But
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be cross shopping those cars. For my money, we have a 356 B coupe.
Yeah.
That I would take hands and fists over that car. Even though, the eyeball of this one, I mean, the top is the look. I don't know. It's super sharp, but I don't know. Maybe I haven't driven the right Carmen Ghia, but
yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. I mean, it's if I had the space and the money, I think if I was going to put a Carmen Ghia in my collection, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh yeah. No, that thing's
down.
It's stunning.
I think and I know there's people out there that absolutely love and adored that car, when it came out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean there's people out there that if they see that car, they have to have it. Like, oh my gosh.
And I understand that.
Yep, I've dreamt of this car.
Nope, I get that too, but it's just not quite to my taste.
Sure. Yeah, that's all right. No, that's a great question, Stephen H. Thank you. I like CS.
Yeah.
Having learned about Sheffield recently, you're welcome. I'd like to buy a watch. Will there be a first Dibs limited edition? Well, that's a fantastic question that we should ask our friends.
What I look at is in the scheme of people in the automotive sphere.
Right.
Right now, they're at Jay Leno, Spike Ferriston. I'm not sure how many levels there are until you get to us. And in terms of our opinions and our content and our value, we're up there.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need a little more recognition.
Yeah.
Maybe more followers on Instagram and YouTube
Right.
before we can really carry the clout of it. But I don't know.
It would be awesome.
What do you think? How many watches do you think we need to make? 500?
Yeah, not many.
Probably less than 500. So,
I'd really like to talk to him about doing another 356 holiday, West Coast holiday watch.
that I really think is cool.
And-
I'm jealous that you have one and I don't.
Yeah, see if we could be part of that, or if
Yeah.
he's the dealership could be part of that, because it's here in Colorado Springs. Pikes Peak should certainly be part of that somehow. So it would be really fun.
Yeah.
To be involved with that side. So maybe that's how we do it. Maybe that's maybe that's how we could get included.
The 356 West Coast Holiday presented by First Dibs from inside Porsche Colorado Springs.
That's a long engraving. That'd be a super cool
It's
engraving.
a twisty. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little spiral.
Right.
That'd be really good.
No, that's awesome. But thank you. I've come to actually love the Sheffield watches. I don't know how many I own now.
Yeah.
Several. Mm-hmm. Not all. I mean, I'd love to have all of them, but yeah.
What I think is fun about it is it lets you build a collection of something for less than it would cost to have one, like
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
one
Yeah.
Rolex.
Yeah,
You could have a lot of different, and you know, I think it's the hard part about it. Probably tells time just as well as a Rolex,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
I think
they're really neat.
I think I've talked about it on the show before. I'm not just personally speaking, I'm not a Rolex person. I'm just not. I don't ever aspire to own one. Like I don't think they look great. Like I mean, I just like they're just again, it's very personal. I think they're very generic, right? And I once had a good friend of mine that has a couple referred to them as these are wedding watches, right?
Yeah.
And ever since then, I'm just kind of like, yeah. I mean, he's kind of right. Like I have a lot of respect. You know, I think they've done a fantastic job as far as the marketing. You know, they're everywhere.
Yep.
Right. But no, I guess to the point is, yeah, I would own 100 Sheffield watches before I personally bought a Rolex. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I want a platinum watch.
Cool.
I have a titanium watch that I got as a graduation gift, and I love it because it weighs nothing.
That's cool.
Like you don't even know it's on your wrist, and it's sweet. But I want the other end of the spectrum. I want something where like, I just like, what time is it? Could somebody help?
You want an Invicta.
No, I don't want it to be gaudy. I just want it to weigh. I like if you could make it out of lead and not kill me, I would take that. I just want something that's just like, oof.
Wayne that was in today. Have you ever seen his Panerai?
No.
He claims he's like, I'm not a watch guy. He's like, this is the only time I've ever bought one like this.
Yeah.
It is really cool. So next time he's in, please look for that.
Okay.
And ask him about it because it's beautiful and it's not your typical Panerai watch. It's really cool. I like that.
Okay.
I think that's
Good choice.
good conversation.
Scott, yes, the 963. I think we're expecting the announcement at Le Mans. They're talking about the road to Le Mans, so I think that's June 14th, somewhere in there ish. They also said it's the road.
What, that's like 2 weeks away.
It's the road to Motor City.
I like it.
There's still a chance they're going to debut
Here. At the Hill Climb event.
RSP's new car. He might be flying in to debut it here.
He's gonna be here. He's gonna be,
and if he does, I will chew on my sock.
he's gonna be so pissed that we
Ruined it.
are talking about it. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I've gotten good at apologies.
He's quite a powerful individual.
I am sure he's a delight. My problem is not with him.
Can't say I've ever heard that, but
I just wanted more.
Right.
Like if one is good, 500 is better.
yes, yeah,
My opinion.
I like it.
My
I like
opinion. Just my opinion. So we're expecting that. How much is the bus? 80 grand.
79. We're listing it
okay.
for 79.
It original owners bought it with 26,000 miles in. Sorry, not original. Previous, the guys that restored it bought it in 81 with 26,000 miles on it, put 205 on it, and then drove it to the restoration shop. Since then, it's done like 1,000 miles or something
Maybe
like that. I think.
2,000,
Yeah, but it's
everybody that comes and sees it. There's been multiple people that say, "Oh man, we had one just like this."
Yeah.
And they're like, well, ours was not like this.
Yeah.
You know.
so that thing.
Nobody's was like this.
Yeah, that's a buy it, drive it, start
awesome.
a business.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking with a couple that was in here. They said they were in San Francisco a few years ago, and they went on a tour of San Francisco in a bus.
Awesome.
And so it was like 5 random strangers and the tour guide and a driver driving around in this old Volkswagen bus looking at the Full House.
Right.
And, you know, this is I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And this one, it's got the original 2-liter engine in it. Like most people assume that it's got a Subaru engine or something like that. No, it's the original 2-liter. It was taken care of. It's been converted to fuel injection.
Yeah.
So it actually starts and runs, here at elevation. But no, it's a whopping 70 horsepower 2-liter bus engine. Awesome.
So if you buy it, you should build a 200 horsepower. You should put a Polo engine in it. A 964 based 260 to 300 horsepower.
Right.
964 based.
Why don't you
engine.
just put a Coyote engine in it?
Because that wouldn't fit. It would sound weird. And it would require radiators. So there's all of my reasons why I wouldn't put a Coyote in it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Most overrated and underrated Porsche model today from the last 3 years.
No SUVs. Overrated and underrated.
Underrated right now is the Spider RS.
Oh, yeah. They always are.
Yep.
They're always underrated.
Anything mid-engine is underrated.
Yeah.
And specifically right now, to me, it's the Spider RS. The GT4 RS is incredible, but it's not my car. If you were a track guy, then absolutely that's the right one. But
yes,
I don't do that.
Our buddy Salil.
Oh yeah.
Proved that.
Yeah, he just won one lap of America
in a GT4
RS,
which is not the most powerful car out there.
No, just
by any means,
just crushed. So
yeah,
yes. But what I want it for is just being my fun special thing, which means, I wasn't a convertible guy until I moved here, and it doesn't matter the month. You could have the top down at least a day, and it's a little softer in my butt dyno. I said in my butt.
That's awesome.
Somebody better clip that. It's a little softer in my butt. But
I like I have a measurement in there.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that on paper Porsche said anything about it being tuned softer. I don't think they did. But it feels just that little bit more supple, because the in a GT4 RS, the carbon air intake shares the space with your head, and it's just noisy and violent and loud. In the Spider, you get these air intakes over your shoulder, but the rest of the intake track is muted, and it's underneath at least the tonneau cover and a layer of carpet, and if the top's down, the top is there too, and it just mutes it down enough where it's perfect. And I think it's prettier than a Speedster, and it's half the price. The one drawback is you can't get it in a manual. I don't know that I'd want it in a manual anyway. The PDK just fits that car so well. And I don't know. Open top GT car.
Pretty sick.
For less than $250,000.
Right about.
A little less, but yeah, that gets my underrated. I'll work on my overrated. But you got to answer.
No, I agree. I think the
right.
Spider is.
You can just say you're right.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think the Spider, it's always underrated. Since it came out, the most underrated one was the 2016 version. I still like that one. I think that's an amazing fun car.
Just adore that thing too.
But no, it's kind of fun. So I met this guy, I think his name is Matt. He's originally from the UK, but he's living in, oh gosh, I'm going to get this wrong. Not Australia. But anyway, he's not even living in the U.S., but he's thinking about venturing this way. And so he's been on vacation in the U.S. for a while, and he was in a motorhome. He drove from L.A. to Colorado, and he's got a day left, and he doesn't have anything to do. And so he decided to, mill around town. And for whatever reason, he decided to stop by the Porsche dealership because in the UK, he had a 718 Spider. And he said in the UK, he said, seeing a Spider RS is crazy. He goes, you have a fleet? He's like, you have an entire row of them next to each other. And I said, oh, man, you just got here. Anyways, spend your time, look around. He wound up walking around for like 2 hours, just milling around, checking stuff out.
Yep.
And I got to see him on his way out, and he said, this is unbelievable. He said, absolutely. He said, I've never seen anything like this in my life. right? And he's
silly.
He's a Porsche owner, right? He said he's like you would never ever see anything like this where he was from. So anyway, I don't know if we'll see him again, because like I said, he's been on this month-long vacation thing trying to figure out where he wants to go. But that was cool. That was encouraging, to hear that. But it was nice to talk to him about the Spiders for a little bit because he understands them because he owned 718 version earlier and noticed that we've got so many sitting here and thought, yeah, this is a good time for this stuff. And then our buddy Max was getting one of his cars serviced down in the other building today, and he was kind of hanging out down there, and he asked about the electric mid-engine cars coming out. And so I got to talk about that, how the mid-engine cars, the production is over, they're done with these, and so yeah, I mean, what you have now, Max, it's great. It's an amazing car, and those articles are starting to be released, now, where I think they're saying the mid-engine, car is dead for Porsche.
They make them, I think the last one will be built in October.
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So if you want one, there's still potential. Don't take this as a no, there's no way. But you got to call us 2 months ago. And
yeah.
So.
So I agree with you. Spider is the most underrated car.
I'm having a hard time with overrated.
Yeah, me too.
But I will say that I think when you're buying a car, you got to kind of figure out your purpose for it. And I had a client get a 911 Carrera, base Carrera, with the intent of tracking it.
Oh, yeah.
And he melted through rear brakes.
Every session.
And he would make it I think he made it a weekend on brakes and then had to put new pads in. And that was something that was pretty shocking, I think, to me, because what we talk about is that all of these cars are built for track work, and and they are. It didn't have a fault on the track with the brakes. It just ate through them. And I think had he got a base Carrera, had he got a Carrera T that has the limited slip differential, or an S or a GTS, I think maybe that would have been slightly alleviated, because rather than using the brakes to help with turn in and torque vectoring and stuff, it would have been using a mechanical differential. So that would be my answer, is the standard Carrera, and only because of the track work purpose. I think if you're a guy that's never going to take it to the track, I think the answer could flip, and that could be one of the most underrated, because the power is perfect. It's, the ride is awesome. The comfort is great. But for his purpose, I think that car was unfortunately overrated.
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with that situation. That makes sense. That makes sense. I guess, I'm having a real hard problem as far as overrated, because,
how about this? Switch it. Which is the one the market least appreciates?
Ooh.
Because it's kind of the same question, right?
Yeah.
The most underrated car, well, like a GT3 Touring paint a sample manual, is pretty underrated, because they had sold them for $200,000 and they're worth $300,000.
Yeah. I don't know. Because, I mean, at the desk that I sit at, it's just different, I see kind of all the transactions, both incoming and outgoing. I guess where my head initially jumps to, especially because the questions within the last 3 years, I wouldn't count, but I would say like the Carrera T, but I would actually
You think that's overrated?
No.
I think that's underrated.
No, yeah, I think that's underrated. I'm like appreciated the less.
Oh, gotcha.
Appreciated the least. I think that's a really, really good question.
How about a manual Targa?
Those cars, man.
I love them.
Oh, yeah.
But the market might love them more than me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Manual Targa. I can tell you from personal experience is trying to find a Targa 4.
Oh, yeah.
That's difficult.
Yep.
That's really true. That's tricky.
That's a rare car.
It is a rare car.
How many? I bet we sold one.
If even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to research those cars to do like a buy bid.
Mm-hmm.
Very difficult. Super hard car to find. I mean, I truly believe they made very few of those cars.
Yeah, they did.
I wonder why. Well, because the S and the GTS, they just sell.
Yep.
You know, they pay Porsche's big bills. But that's a crazy question, especially now. I mean, for the last decade, you know, Porsche cars in general have done so incredibly well in sports cars and market wise. I think it's an easier question to answer. What's underappreciated, but
What bubble's gonna pop?
what bubble's gonna pop? Coming up soon.
Well, I think it's all kind of the same question, right? Is the most underrated car today is the one that in the future will be worth the most because people will catch on and be like, oh my God, that thing's amazing.
Yeah.
And the most overappreciated car right now is the one where people's like, I'll pay all the money for it, but next year it's going to be worth $30.
So
yeah.
okay. I mean, would it be daring to say that the most overrated car at the moment is the GT3 RS?
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, one of the topics of debate is, you know, are these the last RS cars to not have some kind of a plug-in feature?
I think the 2RS will not have a plug.
The next one?
The imminently coming. I bet in the next 6 months we hear about it.
I mean, if that's true, if the next GT2 RS does not have some kind of a
It will not be
feature,
plug-in. It may be a hybrid, but it will not be a plug-in like the GTS.
Hybrid as in like
the
hybrid
GTS.
turbo?
The T, yeah, exactly. Hybrid turbos with small battery and an electric
But
flywheel.
If that really does happen, I mean, how does the market take that? Do people take that as in, nope, this is now like you put the word hybrid with the car?
Yeah.
The hybrid.
No, I don't think so. But I think the current 3RS and the new GT3 are going to be like, they're going to be the Preuninger cars.
Okay.
Like you've got the Metzger engine. These are going to be the Preuninger cars because he's about to enter forced retirement.
Sure.
And these are going to be the last cars fully developed under his watch. And he has been so instrumental in Porsche. I mean, I don't think we are today where we are without that guy.
Yeah, right.
You know, and maybe there's somebody else that was as talented, but he did it.
Yeah.
And the cars wouldn't exist as they are now without him at the helm. And we're turning the page. And there have been great cars before him, and there will be great cars after him. But this was a specific era that mattered, right? The Gemund cars. Those cars were built. They are a period in history, right? The 901 911s. Before they became the 911, those were specific.
Yep.
And you go through these different eras with Porsche, and they're all important, but this is the end of it. And if he's your guy, you know, if you're a 16-year-old that's been a geek since you were 10, and you've been following this guy, and you know how important he is, but you can't buy that car.
Yeah.
And you know that's the one you want. Well, this is it. It's that one. If you want an RS or if you want a front trunk, it's the new GT3.
Yeah, right.
And it's nothing later. You know, I think he's involved with the GT2, but
yeah.
Whatever. That's turbocharged. That's different. That's that's a different car.
Yeah.
So I still feel like, yeah.
I like Stephen H. Most underappreciated 718 4-cylinder.
True.
I could go with that.
Yep.
I would, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. 718 4-cylinder, if you were to drive your own, have your own, manual or PDK?
Manual.
I would take a PDK.
Yeah, I believe it. Dead air.
Yeah. Reason
do you want
being
me to
is,
do you want me to cut you?
no, I mean, I think the reason being is that the manual in that car doesn't have the right kind of takeoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah. I just,
The hill hold and that kind of stuff is just
Yeah.
a little.
yeah, it kind of,
Yeah.
it just bugs me a little bit.
That's okay.
And so, yeah, so that's actually, that's probably, I mean, besides an RS or whatever, but for a driver car, that's probably kind of the only one that comes to mind that I would choose the PDK.
I think. Okay, I'll give you a most overrated. Well, I don't know if it's not even overrated, but just one of the silly ones, the America Roadster.
Oh, the GTS, the America GTS.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got a good client that has one of those cars, and I brought it down here for service. It's pretty cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but
I don't know that it's. It's it is hard to kind of justify the value. What those cars sell for. It's unique.
Yeah.
It is a cool car. It is a cool car. I think it's pretty neat. I do think it's pretty neat. And there's just some features about it. The craftsmanship.
the baseball stitching is cool.
It's pretty amazing. So one that a car that came up kind of during that stuff that I didn't know about it or I forgot about it because there was so few, was the Rennsport edition. I think it's a 997. That's a real car. And when the first one that got pitched to me was a few years ago by road scholars of all places. Hey, would you be interested in this Rennsport edition? We already have one. And I'm like, what is it? And you remember the Endurance edition?
Yeah.
911. That's kind of what it was. It was a sticker package car. But these things bring stupid money right at the auction side. And and so for me, that's what the America GTS is.
Yeah. Sometimes like the Turbo S exclusive from 18 and 19. They did the coupes in 18 and they did the cabs in 19.
Yeah.
Those cars, I think, are underappreciated
I think so.
because on paper, they had a 27 horsepower bump. Who cares? But when you're in it, it's about the craftsmanship and the detail work, and that was Porsche flexing to say, "This, look at what we can do."
Yeah, right.
And they're amazing. The wheels are painted gold and then fully painted black and then put in a fixture where they laser etch a pinstripe off of the wheel face.
Right. Or the headliner, the perforated headliner.
Exactly. That's something you didn't know about unless you were in that car. And you can't appreciate those cars enough unless you are in them and, just on it. And I haven't even driven one, right? All I've appreciated is just it. And that car is underappreciated.
Yeah.
And maybe the America GTS, I think America Roadster, isn't it?
Well, the America Roadster was a 964. I'm pretty sure they call this the America GTS. Or is the America GTS when they got the math wrong also?
Yeah, they were like 50 years of Porsche for the last 30 years. GTS Cabriolet America Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also got the name wrong.
Now, granted, America Roadster, I think, is an underappreciated. That's an air-cooled classic car. I think those are underappreciated because no one knows what they are. Yeah. I had a chance at buying one of those for the store a couple of years ago. Anyway, there was someone else that knew what it was. They bid way more than I was going to do, but it would have been pretty sweet. That is a unique car for sure. I'm trying to think. No, that's fantastic. Those are really, really good.
I like when we have to think about stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not just an off the cuff, I know the answer to that.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of fun to stump the idiots.
Yeah.
It's also hard to trash talk our brand.
Super hard.
Because I appreciate all of these, and
Yeah.
I can get excited about anything that comes in.
Yeah.
So that makes me know that I'm in the right place.
Yep. Let's see. Our who were you going to mention today? He stopped by to meet us the other day. He's got a very special Spider RS on the way.
Yeah, I know. And we have to break the news that Lupe quit. It's too bad. So
Today,
he
left around 11.
Yeah, exactly. He had the sniffles, but it's all right. He'll probably be better and back.
Who's messaging like crazy? No, what was this?
It's Scott.
Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, Scott stopped by.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet him.
I know, me neither.
Anyway, Scott, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We're super excited for you to meet your car when it arrives, and that's going to be a very, very fun experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for chiming in. I listen to this radio. So I live near Denver, right? I live in Parker, and so I listen to different radio channels than you local Springs residents listen to sometimes. And the radio show that I listen to coming down says, we have the greatest listeners, ever on the planet. They might have the best radio listeners, but we definitely have like the best, podcast, YouTube watchers and listeners.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this is super. I love the interaction and people trying to come meet us. That's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I think where I started the show is Pikes Peak Hill Climb has definitely kicked off the season. They're headed to the mountain tomorrow morning.
Yep.
They'll be here around 2 a.m. meeting up and headed to the bottom section of Pikes Peak Hill Climb because I don't think they're going to be running at the top.
A good place.
I think there's roughly 30 inches of snow or so at the top of Pikes Peak in places, so they're not going to be up there. But it definitely felt like June today because June is a really fun, very exciting, very busy month for the dealership. Lots and lots going on, lots of activity. We have a track day that's coming up. I think it's June 10th and 11th.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. There's morning and
Not
afternoon.
a track day. It's a Porsche experience drive on the racetrack. A little different.
Yes. 2 sessions for each day.
Yep.
Morning and an afternoon. And realistically, what it's intended for is people that don't currently own Porsche cars getting in some of these to experience them for themselves. So I'm really hoping that those, people...
We should bring a 356 and the Carmen Ghia.
I don't think we can take the Carmen.
And compare them.
On the track.
Yeah.
I think you could compare them just here in Motor City.
I'm not allowed. I don't think.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not driving that car.
I'd love. The 356. That's funny you say that on the track because as Porsche Classic continues to develop, parts and things for these cars, they go test them.
Yeah.
At Weissach. And so they put these test drivers, right? In these 356s. These guys are test driving GT4s and cars that we don't even know about yet.
Yep.
And then they're like, hey, go hop
Neil
in this
Patrick
1964 356C and test out these brakes and tell us what you think. What?
Yeah.
And so, they just rip the crap out of these cars, going around. You can almost hear them laughing, in these little videos that
I bet it'd be fun.
It would be insane. It would be super fun. 350. I would love to have a 356 someday. Really would. I still think the way that I describe driving those cars, it's like you're in a movie. When you're driving that car, I feel like I'm in a movie.
Yeah, I can see that. The A pillar, B pillar, C pillar are also dainty.
Yeah.
That, it feels like you're kind of driving in something and wearing a hat.
Sure.
Right? Because the visibility all around is just fine. And then you got this roof. It's just,
right. Yeah. Yeah. You're not necessarily getting out of everyone's way.
You're not. I drove that sky blue one to Denver. I was not in anyone's way.
No. Yeah. No.
But,
no.
Like
that's an SC.
Yeah.
That one's okay. Lupe took I think it was our 64 SC for a drive. Because anyway, it needed to charge up the battery for a little. Just needed to be exercised.
Yep.
And then when he got back, he goes, it started getting a little warm. He's like, he said, it wasn't. How did he express it? It was, yeah, cruising at 85 miles an hour. It started getting a little warm, and I'm like, yep. I'm sure it did.
Just a little. Only because the air's thin up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lupe, this thing was built, 19 Yeah, this is 1964, dude.
Have you ever seen Faces of Death? the videos from like when we were going through driver's ed?
Oh.
Yeah. That was not current cars. That was stuff like those.
I own at least 1 or 2 Faces of Death DVDs.
You should bring those in. We should watch them to remind us how to drive the classics.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Those are
all right. On that morbid note.
Yeah, right.
We'll be back next week.
Yes.
If not before.
Yeah.
I think we're going to leave the microphone set up. Who knows when somebody's going to be available to chat with us about whatever.
Yeah.
And thanks, everybody. I think